Dr. Crippen is consulted on television about her incredible disclosure. She has changed the measles infection hereditarily with the goal that it assaults dangerous cells. She makes sense of that all the malignant growth patients which her fix has been tried on have recuperated up until this point. The scene leaps to 3 years after the fact. We see New York City has turned into an unfilled and ruined place, absent any trace of human existence. Grass covers streets and structures, deserted vehicles line the expressways, and the city is quiet. It appears to be that the end times has shown up. Robert Neville is passing through the abandoned city joined by Sam, his canine. A group of deer jump across his way and he follows them, gives pursuit at speed in the vehicle. He attempts to shoot them and we understand it's a chase. The deer split up and run down a street impeded with deserted vehicles. Neville gives pursuit by walking, attempting to chase one deer down. As he adjusts a corner he gets the deer and his weapon locates, just to be beaten to the kill by a lion that probably gotten away from the New York City Zoo. Robert is torn regarding whether to shoot the lion, and family additionally enter the scene or pass on the deer to them. As of now Robert's watch alert beginnings blaring and he leaves, taking Sam with him. We see Neville's home. It is the ordinary American confined house, however it looks like it were in a disaster area. Robert and Sam have had an apparently typical night, eating handled food and sitting in front of the television. After a shower, Neville closes, locks and safeguards each entryway and window with monstrous steel screens. He lays down with Sam in a bath, rifle close by, with hints of shouting encompass the home. He longs for how Zoe, his better half, their youngster, Marley, and Sam, as a pup, attempt to leave New York. We see Robert wearing a tactical uniform. He chooses to remain in New York on his own to attempt to stop the infection as he is a tactical specialist. They tell Marley they are going on vacation. Yet again the fantasy scene is intruded on by Neville waking to confront his forlorn reality. At his stronghold-like home, Robert practices, and goes down to the cellar, where he keeps a little yet howdy tech research center. We see that he has been trying different things with an immunization for the infection that has cleared out a large portion of mankind. He's attempted the immunization, clearly only one of hundreds, on a mice to track down a practical fix. Every one of the mice act staggeringly forceful, aside from one. Robert makes note of this mouse and considers that particular compound prepared for human preliminaries. Afterward, Robert goes to a video rental store where he converses with certain life-sized models he has set up, his main type of contact with the human structure. It appears he has made a game for himself to keep frenzy from taking him. He later visits some townhouse pads close by, looking for provisions and happening upon a room with a bed encompassed by saran wrap and one more space with 2 dens. We recognize the aggravation clearly as he sympathizes with the deficiency of friends and family. Afterward, we hear the radio message Neville has made and plays over all AM radio frequencies. It says that he's alive, and that he'll be sitting tight for additional survivors at the docks of the Sound at late morning regular. Sam detects a deer once more, so Robert and Sam pursue it. The deer runs into an old structure at ground level, and Sam pursues it, despite the fact that Robert has attempted to keep Sam down. Robert enters the structure as Sam won't return willingly. Cautiously, Robert looks through the obscured rooms. He tracks down the carcass of the deer and Sam, concealing under an old work area. A tainted male then, at that point, jumps out of the dimness to go after Robert and is shot dead. Both Sam and Robert begin taking off through the structure. A greater amount of the contaminated show up and pursue them. He battles them all and both can escape the structure. The head of the tainted can't pursue them since his skin consumes when he interacts with the daylight, and subsequent to shouting at Neville, he withdraws back to the security of the dimness. Before long, a while later, Robert lays out a snare to get one of the contaminated. He succeeds and takes the caught female tainted home to his lab. He attempts the immunization that made the mouse less forceful, however it fizzles and the lady flatlines. He resuscitates her with an adrenaline shot and keeps on adjusting his serums in the expectation of tracking down a fix. That evening, he again dreams of the past, when his better half and kid attempted to leave New York in the disorder of its departure. He remembers the frenzy and dread in the city as the residents of the city attempt to get away from before the tainted assume command. Once more, Neville wakes, with a profoundly miserable face. The following morning, he recalls that it's his birthday. At the point when he goes to the video store, he finds his life-sized models have been moved. During the night, the Tainted have laid out a similar snare he coordinated for them the earlier day. Neville is gotten by the snare and drops. At the point when he awakens, he is gravely harmed, hanging topsy-turvy and dying. Sam is steadfastly hanging tight for him. He releases himself at last similarly as nightfall falls, yet he falls on his blade and pierces his leg. The Tainted Pioneer then shows up with contaminated canines who assault Robert, yet Sam guards him, who prevails with regards to creeping back to his vehicle to recover a gun, firing the Tainted canines dead. He glances over to see Sam break down from a nibble wound and gets her and lays her in the vehicle. At the point when he returns home, he puts Sam on a table, and infuses her with a trial immunization. The immunization flops in aiding Sam as Neville understands her hair starts to drop out and she endeavors to mess with him, so he is compelled to kill her by choking her as she battles in his arms. Destroys stream his cheeks as he expresses farewell to his main companion. He then, at that point, proceeds to cover her in the roads. In a sadness-stricken fury, he chooses to battle all the Tainted up close and personal. He drives his SUV at fast into the crowds of contaminated who wander the roads around evening time. He almost runs off the finish of the wharf and crashes. The contaminated upset his SUV. Similarly, as he is going to pass on, a splendid light radiates on him and he passes out. Yet again, while passed out, he has dreams about the past. This time he longs for the helicopter his significant other and kid used to get away from New York. As it takes off, a close-by helicopter is gone after by contaminated and collides with the helicopter conveying his loved ones. He awakens in his home to Shrek playing on the television and join in his blade wound. Individuals who saved him are Anna and her child Ethan, who have heard Robert's radio message and went to track down him the earlier day. Anna makes sense of an arrangement for leave New York, and go to a state of resistant survivors in Vermont. Robert, in any case, demands that he needs to be let be and that he doesn't completely accept that such a spot exists. Soon thereafter, Robert understands that the Tainted are going after the house. The earlier night they had followed Anna back when she protected Robert. Despite the fact that Robert's home safeguards are far-reaching, the contaminated are so perfect in number they break the shades and advance into the house. Robert, Anna, and Ethan retreat to the cellar lab. During the furious battle, has opportunity and that the Tainted female he had caught before and tried the infection antibody on, has returned to her human structure. He takes an example of her blood in a needle and gives it to Anna, advising her to leave through a little secret entrance with Ethan. Robert stays back to kill as a significant number of the contaminated as he can, blowing them to pieces alongside himself, including the horrendous, extremely confident man who has made an individual mission out of chasing Robert down. Anna and Ethan arrive at a peculiar spot in the open country. The street is cut by a palace-like wall and a steel entryway. There, a few human survivors live in that encased local area. Anna gives the needle with the cure to the human head of that little local area, and her voiceover tells us of the legend that Robert Neville has become. Substitute completion. During the battle among Robert and the Tainted, Robert understands that the contaminated female he had caught before and tried the infection immunization on, has returned to her human structure. Alpha Vampire makes breaks in the glass chamber demonstrating he needs the female back. Robert eliminates her medication dribble and moves her external the glass chamber, saying that he's paying attention. The Alpha Vampire coordinates different vampires not to go after Robert, who presently inoculates the female to restore her to vampire structure. The Alpha Vampire gets her and leaves with different vampires while Robert expresses sorry to them for killing a few vampires in his examinations. Robert, Anna, and Ethan currently live respectively and continue to look for other human survivors by sending messages in AM communicates. Thank you for watching and see you again in another movie story.